Hello and welcome to the Practical Animal channel. The channel is for you if you want to know what it takes to work with animals. Most weeks I interview an animal industry professional, asking him or her the skills and personal qualities needed to be successful in their career. Recent interviews have included a head falconer and also what it takes to work with great apes. My next guest is Daniel Holmes. Daniel is the founder and owner of Knaresborough Exotic Rescue in Knaresborough in North Yorkshire in the UK. He talks about what it takes to run a rescue centre and the difference between a rescue centre and an animal sanctuary. And Daniel explains all, and he joins me now. Daniel Holmes, founder and owner of Knaresborough Exotic Animal Rescue. Welcome to the Practical Animal channel.
Thank you.
Daniel, please can you describe your career from the beginning to date?
I say my career has been one of self-learning, really, not a one of I haven't, like many of the students that come to the centre are obviously doing it because they're getting the degrees and things. I did it on passion. So I started it just over 14 years ago with the reptiles anyway, just from my own personal experience and then gaining experience from other people going down the line through doing it.
Fantastic. Daniel, what are the skills, experiences and personal qualities needed to run an exotic animal sanctuary such as yours?
The skills mainly are it is for the animals. The animals are priority at the end of the day, but it's also you need to be good with customer relations as well at the end of the day, because they're the ones that are giving you these animals. You may not agree with how the animals have been cared for or how they've been brought up, but you need to keep a cool head and still be polite to them, and so then they, in the future, if they do it again, they'll return back to you and not abandon the animals or discard them. So in a way, it's customer care. Skill wise, obviously being able to recognize an ill animal, or if there's any that's come in that's sick or injured, we're getting into the vets. It's just picking up on different. We get lots of different exotics in, from parrots to big snakes, and it is skills as in knowing your animals is the best one I can say on that one. It's experiences. I've had lots of experiences doing this. I've picked up lots of new skills from other rescue centres, and it's keeping in touch with other rescue centres and having that connection with them helps. It's like a community at the end of the day. It helps us all. If somebody can't take it in, then we know another rescue centre that will. I never really say no to a rescue unless I'm completely full or I don't know where it can go. But yeah, experiences, it's just the experience of hands-on experiences. And I say this to the students: you can sit at a desk and learn about many different species of animals, but until you get hands-on with animals, it's the best way of learning, I think.
Daniel, have you dealt with any venomous species, dangerously venomous species? And if so, how do you develop the skills to deal with such a species?
So we haven't dealt with dangerous venomous because I don't take them on, basically, just because I have a lot of students that help out and I don't want them getting injured because of it. and the other reason is my insurance will be through the roof as well. But no, it's just we have had like the hog noses and the false water cobras. That's the only venomous we've had in. But they can react. People can react differently to the venom in them, with hand swelling and things like that. So with them, we're precautious with them. We'll make sure that I train the students in restraining them. I don't like using gloves because you can't feel the pressure you're putting on, and they can slip out of it really easy. So we always said, look, put the gloves to one side and use your hands really.
Daniel, how challenging was it to find a suitable specialist vet?
It's very challenging, and it's still challenging. I wish there was more out there, because at the moment we use our local vet, and we've used them for many years, and they're a fantastic vets, and they will accommodate me to whatever animal I get in that needs vet care. And if they can't treat them, they'll find somebody for me that can treat them. But yeah, I wish there was a lot more, because that's an issue that we've got as well on secondaries. There is reptile vets, but because there isn't that many of them, they're so expensive, and they're more expensive than your common dog or cat vet. People are abandoning them because they can't afford vet bills.
Daniel, who are the 3 people or books that have most influenced your thinking? I ask that because being an owner and founder of a sanctuary, that sounds really, really incredibly impressive. Have there been those influences on you?
There's been not really influences. I mean, that we had a local pet shop many years ago, and he started getting parrots in, and he started getting spiders, and I was intrigued, and I eventually got a parrot off him, and I sort of like was there most times at this pet shop, working with him. Sadly, he's passed away now, but it was him and the motivation to succeed. I think it's our mindset, and it's my dad was sadly passed on. His mindset was never stop, keep going, and if you keep going and never give in. There's lots of hardships, don't get me wrong, with bills and electric bills and trying to find property big enough and fighting with councils. But if you never give in and keep going, you do succeed in the end.
Daniel, what is your view of animal sanctuaries today, please?
I think animal sanctuaries are great. Don't get me wrong. I think some animal sanctuaries are poorly worked, and I think there should be more investigations into them, or more licensing around them. And I say this about rescue centres as well, to be honest. There should be more licensing, as in anybody can set a rescue centre up and you don't need any licensing to do it. And I think there should be more licensing around that, on how the animals are kept. And I always appreciate people that are in the business to come and see our centre, because I see most pet shops are critical of rescue centres anyway. But sanctuaries, I think sanctuaries are great. We've sent animals to sanctuaries that have just started up, and that there is some really nice ones out there. I just wish there were more licensed and more investigated. So because we've had sanctuaries sadly shut down because of lack of funding and things, and that's what it comes down to at the end of things. But yeah, I think there should just be more licensed.
To your way of thinking, Daniel, is there a difference in your mind between sanctuaries and rescue centres?
There is slight differences. Sanctuaries, obviously, that they don't adopt the animals out. They keep hold of them and raise them and keep them where they are for their life expectancy, which is great. me personally as a rescue centre, we have slight sanctuary, as in we do keep some of the animals if the owner, if it comes to it and the owner really wants us to keep hold of them, we do keep hold of them. But we do adopt them out, and if we didn't adopt them out, we would just be overrun, because since COVID has finished, we've been inundated with animals. So
Yeah, thanks for clarifying that. That's obviously a very important difference between sanctuaries and rescue centres.
yeah,
So a slightly different question: how would you describe rescue centres nowadays? What's your view of them?
I think they're great. I think some of them, you know, I travel around and we do visit a few rescue centres, and I think some of them people do set them up just to get the free animals, sadly, and reject the ones that they don't need. And I think, like I said, if it was more licensed, they wouldn't be doing that, and people wouldn't be setting them up willy nilly and not just doing it for the free. At the end of the day, I set mine up just as a hobby to start with, and it's grown to a point where I have now a centre on the high street where we live, and I take about 5 students in a day, plus we do kids and adults with disabilities. And I think if more places did that, everybody, because we're open to the public as well, and everybody that comes in, they all wish they had one in their town, because it just shows that not many places do exotics, and not many places are open to the public that show that they do exotics. People normally with rescue centres for exotics do them from the back garden, like I did originally. They don't have the funding to do a centre. I was lucky at the point where there was premises empty and going reasonably, you know.
We've got a lot of subscribers, Daniel, who are interested in birds of prey. Do you take in many birds of prey?
No, we don't take in birds of prey. I mean, I used to when I did it from home, but the premises we're at were not allowed due to the council regulations. But we do know people that take them in birds of prey sanctuaries, such that we know are really good that do take them in. And there is a lot of shout out for birds of prey, because there's a lot out there that need rescuing at the moment.
Daniel, how do you see rescue centres developing over the next 20 years?
I think there's going to be a lot more of them. I think due to funding, well, lack of funding, I think we've had, I mean, in this time, we've had to take, this is now, but we've had to take cats and dogs in because there hasn't, the other places have shut down. So I think in the future, I think maybe there might be slightly less than what there is now. But in the future, I think there is talk that there will be more licensing on it, hopefully.
Daniel, being a founder and owner, like I said, that's terribly impressive. What advice do you have for instance, students or anybody who is an aspiring founder and owner of a rescue centre such as yours?
Well, I can tell the students, because they ask me, actually, they do ask me, you know, I tell them don't do it. Just because it is so stressful. It is really stressful. You need a good, I would say, a good family behind you. I think if it wasn't for my family that I have and my wife, I don't think I'd be where I am today. I think you need a good family behind you to help you start it originally, you know, because I have a big family. I have lots of brothers, and they helped me build the enclosures and things. We all did it ourselves, and we all did it with recycled wood, and we used glass from a summer house and things like that, because we didn't have the funding to buy brand new vivariums. And I think for people that are wanting to start doing this, it's a great thing, but make sure you've got some kind of money or some kind of help behind you before doing it.
what would you say is the source of the stress?
The source of the stress is funding, is trying to get the money in to pay for the electric, to pay for the food bills and vet bills, and obviously rent of the building. A lot of people think because you're a rescue centre, you get your vet bills for free and you get your rent for free. But you don't. You absolutely don't. You pay like everybody else. You don't get any rates, any cheaper rates or anything like that. You do pay for everything that you would normally if you had a normal pet or dog. But at the end of the day, it is stressful keeping a centre running, as in it's funding. It is funding. I mean, I opened it to the public because we needed more funding and we need the money coming in to keep the lights on.
Somebody who wants to do what you've done, start and run an exotic animal rescue centre, what sort of seed capital would they need to start out the sort of year, 3 years?
You would need to start out if you've got at least 20,000 to put down on having the money behind you for the rent and stuff, and if you can do what we did, and if you can find reclaimed wood and speak to your local wood merchants and you can get it all recycled and for free, then you're doing well. But yeah, you would need at least 20,000 to start off with, and then you would need 10,000, or even no, we need more than that. Actually, you'll need about 30,000 a year after that to try and keep the building running.
I imagine you have a workshop for enclosure construction, etc. What's your most treasured possession in your workshop?
My treasured possession is not actually a reptile. My treasured possession is my parrot, Molly. Now, if people, if they're on our Facebook page, yeah, I know you asked for. I think you were on about tools, were you? Not pets.
Really, yeah, but anything. It's an open question.
All right, but no, it's Molly, my blue and gold macaw. And if people do see my Facebook page and see my lives and stuff, she squawks in the background constantly, and she's more famous for me for being on there, to be honest. But yeah, a blue and gold macaw and a power screwdriver are the best tools to have in your workshop. Oh, and a staple gun's always handy as well, my wife just said.
Daniel, what's the rarest species that you've dealt with?
The rarest species we have dealt with is actually a snail. It was called a fire snail. And they're found in a little village, well, a little 100k area of Malaysia, and they live in the mountain regions, and they are so rare. And sadly, due to the pet trade, I'm sorry about the noise in the background, it's actually my chihuahua snoring. Sadly, in the pet trade, the snails have been taken out of the wild and used for the pet trade because they're so desirable, because they've got this beautiful red body and this beautiful black shell. And yeah, they've just been taken out of the wild, so they're actually becoming endangered now. So that was the rarest one I had, yeah.
Daniel, what's your best parrot, reptile, or snail fact?
Best fact. So the snail fact actually is that snails actually have beaks inside them like a bird. So that's why you put fish in there. And it actually chews the cookie fish to keep the beak down. I might have to apologize. Sorry about this. The dogs are barking because there's somebody at the door. I have 9 dogs, by the way. 9 dogs. Most of them are chihuahuas, and one is a hairless. But yeah, 9 dogs, and now we have kittens.
The collection is growing.
Yeah. Yeah, we used to have raccoons and palm civets and things as well, but due to moving up onto the high street and me not being at home all the time, we're not allowed to take them up to the high street due to the council's regulations. So we sent them to a sanctuary.
Daniel, is there anything else you would like to add? Personally, I'm very, very interested in the day-to-day workings of your rescue centre. How does it work on a day-to-day basis, if you can summarise that in 10 sentences? And is there anything you'd like to add?
So the day-to-day running is we're open 10 till 5, and we're open 24 hours, but on the high street we're open 10 till 5, and people just come in and visit us and bring us animals whenever they like, basically. Like we've just been on our day off today. It's our day off today. We've just been to Grimsby and back to pick up some bearded dragons, 4 of them to be in fact. So yeah, we're open 10 till 5 every day, and we have students and people come and visit us.
The channel is really aimed at students of animal management or anybody who's interested in knowing what it takes to work with animals. What's your criteria for taking on students or volunteers?
So students, volunteers, we get a lot from the local animal college, which is the Askham Bryant College, Animal College, and a lot of them do animal management, zoology, veterinary courses. And we just, as long as they're on some kind of animal management course or veterinary course, they can come and join our team and do work placements with us. Due to COVID, we've had to cut it down to 5 a day. We used to have about 6 or 7 in a day because we've got so many animals. We've got 2 floors in the centre with animals in, and we do wildlife as well. So there's always something to be done with the animals, so that's why we have so many in.
I should say that you're in Knaresborough in the county of North Yorkshire in the UK.
Yeah.
Are there many rescue centres nearby? None that I've heard of, but are there many nearby?
So there's actually, as far as I know, there's actually 2 2 or 3 rescue centres that's open to the public that just do exotics in the UK. There is another one near us. It's over. Where's the other one? There is Cheshire, which Greg runs, and then there's us actually, and that's it. But that's in Cheshire and maybe in Yorkshire. So yeah, we're the only one up north, as far as we know. Obviously, there's lots of reptile shops, Leeds and area, but we're the only exotic rescue in North Yorkshire.
Daniel Holmes, founder and owner of Knaresborough Exotic Rescue. Thank you very much for being on the Practical Animal channel.
No, it's been great. Thank you.
This is the Practical Animal interview.